where the hell is Meghan Markle? And what is the strategy
Really?
behind Meghan being completely MIA right now, other than maybe her being humiliated by Harry's loss and not wanting to be associated with a loser? Hi, everyone. Kinsey Schofield here, and welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. I'm with Kevin O'Sullivan, the host of What Just Happened every weekend on YouTube, but daily you can catch him on Talk. You are the drive time, connoisseur these days.
I'm the host of the highly successful Drive Time show on Talk and What Just Happened, which you feature very prominently in every week. We've had an absolute stellar week this week, nearly 300,000 views. It's the Schofield effect, I say.
Kevin, I am truly baffled by this new leak from Team Sussex that there is a desperation for a Megxit U-turn, because we'll read some of the quotes word for word from the Daily Mail that are coming from briefings, clearly coming from briefings from the Sussexes. But when you read the quotes, you can digest them easily. They sound legitimate, and maybe they are. But Harry's actions in the last 2 or 3 weeks, in my opinion, completely contradict a man that is truly trying to work his way back into the royal fold, challenging the court in such an immature way, calling it a whitewash. It's his father's court. 20 minutes after the release of over 400 pages. I don't think the guy can even read the alphabet, let alone 400 pages in 20 minutes to put together a response like that. Um, the briefing that he aggressively did against the palace after Buckingham Palace was no longer available to him. The vulgarity displayed on the rugby podcast he did while he was in the UK. Even in his quote about how England didn't win the football because they didn't have a winning mindset. I mean, like, who does this guy think he is? I guess I'm asked. Maybe I'm asking this prematurely, and this should have been the climax question. I don't know, but are you sensing the same frustration or confusion that I am in the briefings coming out versus Harry's, actual actions, that they don't make sense together?
I think it's a good point. I mean, Harry uh, is unable, because of his low intelligence, to stick to a script or a game plan. The game plan in his mind is, oh my God, that Megxit thing. Here we are, 8 years on. I've got nothing to do. Americans don't like me. The British don't like me. I need to reverse Megxit. I need to get back to Britain. I need to mend the bridges with the royal family. I need to be loved in Britain again. So that's his sort of game plan. But minute by minute, hour by hour, the guy has no ability to stick to that. And as soon as he opens his mouth, he ruins it. As soon as he goes on that podcast, he ruins it. And don't say about England's soccer team, oh, they didn't win because they don't have a winning mindset. What would he know about that? And if you want to alienate English people, he just did it. He's got no idea. He opens his mouth and out comes a stream of crap that tends to get him in trouble. So the big picture in his mind is, yes, let's reverse Megxit. Let's get back to where we were. Then everybody can love me. Never mind the late, great Queen Elizabeth II. Let's ignore what she wanted. And let's try and get this half in, half out, half royal role that I always wanted. Let's try and do that. So that's his game plan. But minute by minute, he just forgets it. He has no idea how to stick to it. And the result is increasing chaos. His life is chaos. I mean, that trip back to Britain a couple of weeks ago now, week and a half ago, was just, an embarrassing shambles caused by him. And in the end, Why does he want this reunion with the royal family? Why does he want to be close to the king again and all that? I think it's this. I think if he gets close to the king, he thinks he might get armed police protection on his return trips to Britain. This has become, with this guy, Harry, a really unhealthy, disturbing obsession. It is overwhelming everything else in his life. It doesn't make any sense. I know for a fact people have told him, his lawyers, loads of people have said, Harry, give up this pointless, fruitless mission. You are never going to get this armed police protection you keep demanding when you come back to Britain, because only 3 frontline royals get that. You're not a frontline royal. You're not even a working royal. You will never get it. He's told this time and time again, but he will not give up. And there's only one reason he won't give up, in my view, and that is because he's not really in possession of his full faculties. There's something wrong with him. He needs help. He needs psychiatric help because he cannot merge what he wants, which is, to be reunited with the royal family, to get full police armed protection when he comes to Britain. He cannot merge that with reality. And I think he's unraveling because of it. I really think he is psychiatrically unraveling as we speak. And we know things are not good in that marriage. And I think Meghan, I'm going to cut her some slack, rarely. I think she's worried about her husband, who is just losing it.
I partially agree with you, but I have felt strongly that Prince Harry is afraid of King Charles dying and Prince William being in charge
Yeah.
and losing any and all authority he has as a royal. And so they got to swoop in and try to make nice with King Charles so that they can, worm in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not half in, half out, they're still back in the game so that it's not such a, so if Prince William does become king soon, we would all be shocked and appalled if he were to rip the band-aid off and say no more of the Sussexes, because the storyline would then be the big reunion that happens. But if there's no big reunion, if there's no big reconciliation, then Prince William as King William isn't necessarily the bad guy if he rips the titles from Harry and Meghan and no longer allows them to commercialize their relationship with the royal family.
I think it's a really good point. And yes, underlying their increasing predicament here in America, in California, Harry and Meghan, is this growing sense of panic that if they don't achieve some sort of rapprochement, some sort of mending of the ways before King or Prince William becomes king, they'll lose everything then. I mean, I'll tell you what British people love about Prince William, and what by extension they don't like about King Charles, is we all know that Prince William shares our fury at Harry and Meghan for bad mouthing the royal family, calling the King and Catherine racists. Now, the King, soft-hearted soul that he is prepared to forget all that. Well, British people aren't like that. We don't easily forgive and forget. So we don't like the King for that. And we like Prince William because he's not going to forgive and forget. And trust me, he will take their titles away. That's what I like about William. He's can I say this? He's a no guy. And he will exact punishment on Harry and Meghan, and that's what they're terrified of. That's another reason they're trying to get back into the royal good books. But apart from King Charles, who only lowered the drawbridge a little bit so he could see his grandchildren, there's no one in the royal family that wants anything to do with Harry or Meghan ever again. That all of them, from Camilla to Catherine to William to Anne to Edward, Sophie, all of them, they detest Meghan with a passion. They detest her. And they don't like Harry by extension. Like the British people, They used to have a lot of affection for dim old fun-loving Harry, but they don't like what he has become, what Meghan has made him, what Meghan has turned him into. So the royals don't like that, and the British people don't like that. So Harry can nurture his dreams of rapprochement and a peace deal with the royal family for all he's worth, but it ain't going to happen. It will never happen. So he's going to have to work out, as you and I discussed earlier today, Kinsey, on my show. He's going to have to work out what to do with his life because he's 41 years old. He's a father of three, and there's nothing. He's not doing anything.
Who's the
Just,
third? Is Meghan the third?
I would say so. Yeah, I mean,
She is pretty immature.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, he's just nurturing a fake dream that isn't going to happen. So he's got to find something to do with his life and keep trying to sell us this hopeless, empty, pathetic lie. I'm so busy organizing the Invictus Games. Oh, come on. The
I'm
Invictus
so important. I need extra security. Even you're a stay-at-home dad and a duke, dude.
Yeah, but the Invictus Games are once every 2 years. A grown man needs more to do in his life than devote every moment to organizing a once every 2 year event. It's pathetic, and I think it's at the root of his troubles. Is that he I don't think he quite confronts it. It's the emptiness of his life. I think he probably yearns for some purposefulness, something to do. He doesn't quite realize that. But in the end, his problems are there's nothing in his life, nothing whatsoever. Sitting around on the West Coast, smoking dope, saying he's a full-time dad. Frankly, Kinsey, it's just pathetic. It's a sad sight to see.
If I'm Better Up too, which is supposed to be a company that pays Prince Harry a significant amount of money to what we actually don't know what we're assuming he's some form of ambassador for this company that's supposed to mentor people through having better mental health in their workspace. But what does Prince Harry contribute there? I don't know. But if I am them, I'm watching some of these conniption fits thinking he might not, to your point, he might not really be there. Like they tell you when you're depressed and when you're sad, find a hobby, find a purpose. And he is so obsessed with the past that it does make you think he doesn't have enough going on right now to keep him busy. Here's a wild question because, and I know that I'm not asking for a real answer because we don't know, but we were anticipating the Prince Harry redemption tour, and that's exactly what we're getting. We have Harry fatigue at this point. We are oversaturated with Harry. He comes to the UK, and it starts with the will they, won't they, leading into the where will he stay, leading into the security fury. We do get leading into the just absolute devastation of that Daily Mail court case. So we're getting plenty of Harry coverage. Harry reacts to the loss. He promotes Invictus. He's there jumping up and down awkwardly with Alison Hammond. Then he does the rugby podcast. He sits down with James Corden and is all over the place right now for saying he acknowledges that Harry Styles is more relevant than he is. For the love of God, duh.
Yes.
He goes to New York without Meghan and is pictured on a red carpet, thanking everybody on the red carpet for being so polite as they take his picture. Where the hell is Meghan Markle? And what is the strategy behind Meghan being completely MIA right now, other than maybe her being humiliated by Harry's loss and not wanting to be associated with a loser?
I think she's absolutely furious about the Daily Mail debacle. Absolute total humiliation for Harry. All 97 allegations of phone hacking and illegality, totally contemptuously dismissed by a judge who was frankly angry that that court case ever came to court. It didn't deserve to be there. So £50 million has to be found to pay for that case. So there are two. So what is that? 75 million bucks. A lot of money. He's got to find a lot of money. And Meghan, to be fair to her, she did spot about a year ago, maybe longer, that all this suing newspapers left, right, and center, which is one of the ways that this ginger guy has been filling his empty life. You know, nothing to do. Oh, I know, I'll sue some evil newspapers. She did spot that way madness lies. She did say, look, this isn't going to work. You're not going to win all of these cases. I think we should move on. But he wouldn't have it. He sees himself as the dragon slayer, the brave David who's going to slay the evil Goliath of the British press. Well, the evil Goliath of the British press just stamped on David and swatted him and his ridiculous cause stone dead. Meghan hates to lose. She will be saying to Harry, I told you so. He still hasn't given up. She's furious. And I think there are real problems in that marriage now. How long is it since we've seen them together?
Hey everyone, Kinsey Schofield here, and I want to tell you about today's sponsor. It's a total game changer, Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. You may not know it, but your liver handles a lot: energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But with all the stress and toxins from everyday life, it needs some love. Forget harsh cleanses. Peak delivers gentle daily support inspired by traditional Chinese medicine. Their routine uses two simple blends. The first is a warming turmeric mix with cinnamon and black pepper, designed to help the body absorb it better and support the liver while calming inflammation. The second is a ginger and cinnamon blend that helps with blood flow, digestion, bloating, and immune support. The magic is how they work together to activate and flush for better digestion, stable energy, less brain fog, and that light, clear feeling. My energy is consistent, my skin is clear, and less bloating. That's Peak, where spirit meets science. Redefine your standard of health, secure 20% off your order, and begin your intentional wellness journey today at peaklife.com/Kinsey. That's PIQUE life.com/Kinsey. Thanks so much.
It still remains to me very weird that he came to Britain for the best part of a week. They, we are told, came, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, for a couple of days during which they saw the king. We're told. But I find it very strange that there was not a picture or even a hint that Meghan was ever there. I'm sure probably she was, but why is it we are never seeing Harry and Meghan in public at the moment? What is going on there? Because we hear stories of stand-up rows. These are coming from legitimate sources. Stand-up rows, that things are getting worse and worse behind the gilded gates of their Montecito mansion. The sun's shining, but there are storm clouds gathering over that marriage. And I can see that the reason I put a lot of credibility by these stories is you just have to look at the facts. What's that phrase they say that when money walks out of the door, love flies out of the window. That is what I think.
The phrase is actually Meghan Markle wants Jeff Bezos 2.0.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying is that they've got serious money worries. Harry has made those money worries a lot worse by spaffing it all on this stupid case against the Daily Mail. She's not happy with him.
But
Couples,
she's not made she's also got her own money woes with like what are they saying, $5 million worth of product just sitting in a
exactly.
warehouse that's
Yeah,
not moving. I mean, that's on Meghan too for not having realistic expectations for the way As Ever was going to land. Also, terribly marketing As Ever. We've talked about just how terribly that was all rolled out on this show a million times, but I feel the need to remind everyone, not having your product ready when you release your show on Netflix with a QR code that pops up when she uses the flower sprinkles or honey. So you could be literally rotting on your couch shopping Meghan Markle's, website while you're watching her show if you are a masochist and you can get through it. I mean, and then when she pivots saying, she tells Fortune, I think Carol said in the chat today, that she was going to pivot to short form content after losing her Netflix show. I've not seen one video that's like, hey, I'm Meghan in someone else's kitchen. Here's how I'm using flower sprinkles this summer. She's not doing the work. She's not doing it. So like I blame Meghan too for their money woes.
I think she's got huge money worries, and I think As Ever is now nothing more than a vanity project that she clings to desperately because she cannot face the prospect of the humiliation and the embarrassment and the ignominy when that company folds, and it will fold. It was always a hopeless idea. Who the hell is going to spend $64 on a candle that you're going to send off for? I mean, come on. Or
What
what?
kind of bowel movements require a $64 candle, Kevin?
Exactly right. And while you're at it, who's going to spend $14 on a jar of jam or $28 on cookie dough mix? I mean, it's an absurd business. It always was. It's all come home to roost. I think she just now and again says, "Oh, buy my candles," just to preserve the lie that in any way, As Ever, is a going concern. It isn't. And as you alluded to earlier, Kinsey, she's got what is it, $1 million worth of jam that she's got to get rid of by the summer. She's not going to do it. Someday soon, she's going to have to announce the end of As Ever.
She won't though.
So,
It'll just quietly disappear
well,
like everything else.
but it's not as you say, though, it's, Kinsey. The main thing in terms of this discussion is it's not bringing any money in. It's probably costing her money. He's not bringing any money in. He's just lost millions of pounds in a fatuous lawsuit against the Daily Mail. They've got big cash worries, and couples with cash worries don't tend to be happy. I suspect all is not well in Montecito. I really do.
And we covered this on your show a few months ago, obviously, but Meghan's appearance on MasterChef, which we expect within the next few days, in the lead up to that trip to Australia, which remind me to go back to how that is such a great example of why Harry and Meghan cannot do the half in, half out. But
Mhm.
in the lead up to that, we discussed how there were plans allegedly coming from her side, again, briefings from her team, that As Ever was going to go international. Here's another missed opportunity where As Ever has yet to go international, and she's going to go on this show, MasterChef, where it would be the perfect opportunity for her to try to promote her products and sell her products to the Australia market. And she's lost this opportunity, Kevin. She hasn't gone international, and it's just again a wasted opportunity from the Sussexes. How do they manage to screw up repeatedly so often?
Well, the whole thing about going international, when she started saying that, I mean, that's one of her techniques. You know, the two things she does to remind you As Ever's still there, withering away in a warehouse. One is to release one of these videos. Say, "How about my wine? Here's the back of my kids' heads. Hey, get the candles. They're great," that nobody really pays any attention to. And the other way she tries to carry on the As Ever myth is by saying we're going to so successful domestically, we're going to have to go international. Well, She may have actually planned that at one point, but these are foodstuffs. If you want to sell foodstuffs internationally, you have to comply with food laws in every separate country. It's a huge operation. You need experts, you need to get it all the clearances all over the world. She never even began to do that. Never even began to do that. She, let's go international. Somebody said, well, you're going to need lawyers. You're going to need experts. At that point, of course, Meghan kind of goes what she always goes. She will go, oh, it's going to mean some work. I don't want to do work. And then she just disappears.
Oh, we
So
do know she did. Filed some trademarks, right? Was she filed some trademarks? I think, yeah, in Australia.
around the world. Yeah,
In Australia specifically, but
but
yes, yeah,
it's not quite the same as getting clearance to
yeah,
sell
exactly,
food
exactly.
products. This is a very strict process, chemical and everything. You need, so it's a lot of work. So just saying you're going to go, I think she said we're going to go international. Then somebody told her what it entailed.
Yeah,
So as ever, is nowhere near going international. And why would you go international with a company that hasn't even succeeded domestically? It's failed domestically. That is not a sign to go international. As ever, I mean, just give it up, Meghan. It's not working, obviously. So they got real cash problems, these two. And the situation's only getting worse. Which, by the way, to go back to what we were discussing before, I think might be at the bottom of all of these bids by Harry to make amends to get back in with the royal family, because they were earning their most money when they were relatively close to the royal family, insulting them, bad mouthing them, and that form of income has dried up. So they want to get close again so they can maybe exploit the royal family again. So good luck with that. It is really going wrong for those two, really, really badly. And as I also said earlier, apparently Harry's big obsession right now is Americans don't love him anymore. That's half the reason he wants to come back to Britain. Well, maybe Americans don't love him, but they don't hate him as much as Brits do. So you can have him.
yeah.
That's
You're
from
like, so
me.
good luck.
Yeah,
Good
so
luck
yeah,
converting us.
yeah. You can have Harry, Kinsey. That's from me to you.
Oh, well, thank you. One of the things that I was thinking about when trying to process this Megxit, Harry and Megxit U-turn article was that they really think, and this blows my mind after all this time, after everything that's happened, that they could still pursue commercial opportunities and represent the royal family in some capacity. And I want to give you two examples of why that's an absolutely ludicrous suggestion and ask you if you think that this is, at least on the palace's radar. The first example is I think it's Nigeria. Harry photographed next to a man who was who was actually removed from the United States for fraud. The immigration ICE and immigration services removed him, and he's not allowed in the United States because he was caught doing
Oh, yeah.
something illegal. And then so he's photographed in Nigeria throughout some process. Then he used somebody's private plane who was in all sorts of trouble throughout that trip. The second example is Meghan in Australia, her team having to remove pictures of her coddling children with cancer and terror victims from the Bondi Beach shooting, that having to strip pictures of her with these poor people off of an AI app she used the Australia trip to promote, also trying to sell the clothing she was wearing at the scene of this terror attack. I mean, are those not two perfect examples of why Harry and Meghan have not even attempted to prove that they are capable of representing the royal family still while pursuing their commercial ventures?
Do you know what I think? One of the things at the root of Harry's ongoing psychodrama is this. This is what I think about this guy. He's an entitled little Dumbo. He's not at all bright. And because he's lived this life of privilege, where everybody's always said to him, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, be me ever so humble, sir. He's always been kind of pandered to,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he's always got his own way. When he doesn't get his own way, he unravels. He doesn't react like normal people to rejection, to not getting his own way. Most of us who live in the real world, well, sometimes you don't always get what you want to. As the Rolling Stones famously said, it's true. You don't. He can't take that. And what he can't take is the fact he's still living under that famous instruction, famous order from the late, great Queen Elizabeth II, who said, Harry, Meghan, if you want to go to America, if you want to go and make your money in California, you go right ahead. Enjoy yourself, have a happy life. But you cannot do that. You cannot make money in America essentially off the back of your royal titles and then come back to Britain for a few weeks to open a few libraries and perform a few royal duties. You cannot do that. You cannot be a half royal and a half non-royal. That's what she said to him. It's the most famous moment of her later life, I would suggest. Ever since then, Harry has been obsessively trying to overturn that, to get what Queen Elizabeth II told him you can never have, to be able to earn money on the back of his title in America and then come to Britain and open libraries and be an old school royal. He's obsessed with overturning that. So it is the rejection of Queen Elizabeth II that fuels him. He cannot bear to be told you can't have what you want. He's determined to get what he wants. And the final tragedy is that he never will. The king, for all his softness, for all his weakness, will not go back on what his mother said. And in that endeavor, here's to the king. He's quite right. He can't do that. But Harry is determined to do it. And he talked about Australia. I think that Australia trip, that god awful Australian trip, that was the low point. I think where we, millions of royal fans around the world, particularly British people, realized the wheels have come off Harry and Meghan. That show is not working. It's a disaster. Her just going around. Here I am in a hospital. Do you want to buy the dress that I'm wearing in a hospital? Oh, here I am talking to some people who lost loved ones in a terrorist attack. Do you want to buy the trousers and the top that I'm wearing while I talk to these people? Kinsey, it just doesn't get any lower than that. People were sickened by it. And I think Harry and Meghan realized as well. They thought this might be the blueprint for their lucrative future. But
Very.
I think it might have proved to them that isn't the direction. They can't follow that route for too much longer. Australia was sordid, tawdry, horrid. It was horrible to watch. Everybody knows it. And I think even the gruesome twosome, the Sussexes, realize it as well.
You think when Meghan looked out at that empty room on the girls' weekend that they used her face to promote so heavily, she realized this might not be all what it's cracked up to be?
I think it could be that. My favorite Meghan moment, though, which proves that maybe her life isn't as wonderful as she wants us to think it is. Do you remember that time when Catherine, the Princess of Wales, that's been to Italy? That's right, absolutely triumphant. It's had for her first solo royal engagement since her brave battle against cancer. Goes to Italy. Italy goes wild for her, effortless adulation on her part. People just absolutely swarming her. They loved her. Total triumph. Meghan in California. Oh, no, no. It's like, because, of course, Catherine is her sworn enemy. So she gets on a plane and flies to Switzerland, Meghan, to make a speech to the World Health Organization, but clearly they couldn't quite find a place for her inside on the stage. So she makes this speech outside in al fresco in the open air, and it's like by a bus stop. So she's going, I got to save the world and world health, blah, blah, and all that claptrap. And in the background, you can just see sort of cars driving past, people walking around. And then you think, well, at least she's got a crowd of about 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And then a bus draws up, and all 12 people get on the bus, and it drives off. And then she's talking to no one. A snapshot, an image of her life today. Nobody wants to hear her. Nobody wants to see her. Same goes for old Ginger Nuts, her husband, who Australia was terrible for Meghan, bad for Harry. Britain, his recent trip. You can't really say it was all that bad for Meghan because we didn't even see her, but it was a disaster for Harry. Another disaster. It's all going wrong for them. It really is.
I did talk to somebody that spent time with Harry in Australia, and because of this brief time that they spent with Harry and him showing her memes on his phone or whatever, she defends him like her life depends on it now. Like, I think two things can be true: that Harry is a likable character in real life, and that what he did to his grandmother and grandfather and father at like the lowest points of their life can be completely unforgivable. I don't care if Harry was nice to me. I would still judge him based on the fact that he made Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and King Charles's lives a living hell at their lowest point. Queen Elizabeth terrified of a book coming out and a new reality show about her family as she's sitting in St. George's Chapel grieving her dead husband alone in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Prince Philip in a hospital room worried about what Harry and Meghan are going to say during the Oprah Winfrey interview. And those books and are that book and that series dropping as King Charles becomes king. He's just lost his mother. He's waited 70 years for this job. And there's Harry and Meghan attacking him in this very critical transition period of his life. I'm sure that Harry seems like a great guy when you're talking to him one on one, but I just am not going to be able to forgive and forget how he treated the elderly in very critical moments in their lives, towards the end of their lives even.
I agree. I think that he was very selfish towards the Queen and Prince Philip, the rest of the royal family as well. His book, Spare, was spiteful and horrible. But I think he gets led down this path by Meghan. He's too immature, too childish, too unintelligent to understand in the spur of the moment what he does. She gets him to do all this stuff. She's a self-obsessed narcissist. The only thing she cares about is herself, literally herself. Harry, as you quite rightly say, I think if you had a beer with him, you'd probably quite like him for about 10 minutes. And then you think of all the things he's done, the unconscionable things he's done, things he's said, about his nearest and dearest, the agony, the misery he put the poor Queen and Prince Philip through before their sad deaths. He does all that barely thinking because he's immature and stupid. He doesn't have, in my view, grown up emotions. So he knows not what he does half of the time. That isn't to excuse him because he should know better. He's 41 years old. He's got to grow up, and he's got to grow up fast. Is he showing any signs of doing that? I don't think so. Everything you see, everything he does, it's like an impetuous kid. I'm going to sue the government again. I'm going to get that armed police protection. I'm going to get it. I am. Shut up, you absolute idiot. You're 41, not 6. It's ridiculous. So everything about him, I think, is probably dictated by the fact He's a bit stupid. He's not bright, and he's immature, and he's not emotionally developed. As simple as that. And he's led down this dark path time and time again by his narcissistic, self-obsessed wife, Meghan. It's not a good combo. Those two are a toxic combo. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the problem. Put them together, and you've got something that doesn't work.
All right, agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And check out What Just Happened and Kevin on Drive on Talk's YouTube channel. That's Talk TV on YouTube. Kevin, thanks so much for spending some time with me. You know, I love to pick your brain.
Always a pleasure, Kinsey, any old time.